Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Oh, I can't wait to talk with her today. We have a great topic, something we all deal with from time to time. Anger. I don't get angry. Very rare. Takes a lot to get me there. But once you push me there, it takes a lot again. Once you push me there, it's just like, oof. Yeah. See the smoke coming out of the ears and all of that. She is a Heyoka, which means she's an amazing storyteller. She's got a viewpoint on pretty much anything as an intuitive, a psychic, card reader, life coach. She can direct you in many different ways. We're looking at anger today. And Janis Reed is back with us. Welcome. How are you?
Hi, Steve. Well, I'm angry. My back hurts and my coffee is cold. So there you go. Let's talk about anger today.
my coffee is cold too, and I've given up on that. And
okay, people, step away from the cold coffee.
right.
Put your hands in your lap. Okay.
Yes. Your thoughts on anger.
Well, yeah. Somebody called up and said, how do you deal with anger when there's nothing you can do about it? And that's a pretty good question because I'm kind of in the same boat. I'm dealing with a person that is changing every moment and every day. It's hard to keep up, and he's rude and he's loud and he smells funny, and just there's nothing I can do about it. My husband had a fall, so I called the volunteer fire department. They came help pick him up off the floor. He doesn't weigh much, but he's about twice as long as I am, so I couldn't pick him up. It's like picking up a sack of bread dough. Get him in the chair. Call the hospital. Hospital says, we'll bring him on. Okay. Call the ambulance back. Ambulance comes, takes him to the hospital. My back is killing me. I've been trying to lift this man up, and I'm really little, and half his length anyway. So they haul him off to the hospital. And I'm thinking, okay, I'll go get him in the morning, and it'll all be better. Well, about 11:30, they call, say, come get him. Man, do you understand that I was unable to put him from the seat in the house into the seat in the car to take him there? Do you understand? I can't move his body. So could you just bring him home and put him back in his chair like you found him? And they said, no, there's rules, there's laws, there's regulations, there's protocol. Okay, so what do I do? Well, you come to the hospital. Okay, folks, the hour is about an hour away. That's the hospital. It's the closest hospital. It's at least an hour. And now it's midnight and my back won't keep it. So drive to the hospital. They load him in my car because it's the hospital. They have big, brawny nurses. Load him up in the car. We drive home. What they said to do when I got home was, when I got home, call the ambulance. Ambulance will come to my house, take him out of the car, bring him inside, put him in his chair. They will drive an hour to shift him from my car to the inside of the house, but they will not drive that same hour to bring him home because of protocol, rules, and regulations. I thought, that's silly. And so when the hospital called to see if I had good service, I mentioned that, and she said, well, that's silly. Yes, it was silly. So they'll address that. But anger over stuff, man, I'm looking at the news. I'm looking at the weather reports. The only thing I know of not to get angry about is my granddaughter's report card. The entire universe is resting on her little 11-year-old shoulders. My only bright sunshine. So how do we deal with anger when we're just like crammed against the wall? I've been thinking on this.
I can't wait.
I got schnoodles, I am the byproduct of two genii. So yeah.
I just got off the phone with customer support. Second phone call for a company that I'm ordering things for another client. I asked them to send a sample. That was a couple of months ago. The client decided that they want the item. Well, I'm not sure which item it is because we looked at a few, and the person at the the company, my client's not there anymore. The company we're ordering from says, we don't know what sample we sent out. How do you not know? You sent it. You have the address. They confirmed all of that.
Did they not write that down? Did they not jot that down?
It's
You'd
so
think
funny
they
you should
jot
say
down their own.
it's so funny you should say that, Janice, because I'm ordering pens. Write it down. I should have used that. Called them again today, 5 minutes ago. Not even kidding. Oh, yeah, a half hour ago. They still can't find it. Okay, well, I think it's this one, but the reason we had the sample sent was because we want to make sure the quality was there. I can just shoot in the dark and have you send one, and we pay all this money for it. How do I know if
without ink? Yeah.
And how do I know if it's the right pen and the quality is there? Again, the person that received it no longer at the company, and they're like, "Well, can't you find it there?" I'm like, "Could be at her home. I don't know where it is." I'm like, "Okay, I can order from anybody right now. Do you want to give me a reason why I should order with you and roll a dice on it being this pen, and then you have to send me another sample? I mean, how about for my inconvenience, a discount or something? It's like you're like any other company now."
Oh, you should stay with them because they already had your order.
No. And in your situation, what if, now I'm not suggesting this, but I'm just wondering what they would say. What if you were to follow the hospital ambulance crew for the hour? So you go to the hospital, they transfer your husband to your car. You drive the hour, they follow you. And how would that look? Would that work for them?
Man, it's a good thing I know how to elbow, wrist, because we'd have a parade going right down the freeway.
Tell me.
And we worry about where our taxpayer money goes. These are volunteer fire departments. These are volunteer people. I mean, it's like the hospital is gonna they call the volunteer fire department. They'll do it. They're volunteers. They got lives, kids. In the middle of the night, they sometimes like to sleep, I would suspect, but yeah. Anger. So I got thinking about this. Like I said, I get a little loopy when I start thinking about a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that anger is really frustration. And frustration is really confusion.
On whose part?
Not enough. Well, you don't have enough information. I don't have enough information to understand why in God's blue earth they would do that like that. You don't have enough information to understand why customer service doesn't have a pin there by the phone. It's frustration. Why doesn't somebody do it the way I would do it? Why don't they do it reasonably? Why don't they just follow their own constitution and quit trying to change it 243 years later because it sounds better if they tweak it? Why don't people follow the rules? There's rules, for goodness sakes.
Yes.
Yes. When you strike the match, you strike it away from yourself, not towards your nose. You don't do certain things.
Well, okay, but whose rules are these? It's and not having enough information.
It's them.
You got the information. That's what they say they want to do. I guess they can explain why it makes sense, why they can't transport somebody, but they can take them out of a vehicle and put them in their residence.
That's extra.
Why can't a company who sends out a sample not have that recorded that they sent the sample and what it was?
Why don't they know what they sent?
They have the address. They have the person's name. They have all of that.
Presumably, they're in business to do business, not just to give away their product to whoever says, "Can I have some samples?" They want to keep up with that. I would think, but I'm a girl. I don't know.
Maybe it's our confusion on all of this. I don't know. So what was the resolve with the hospital and the transportation? How did you resolve that? Notice I said you because they didn't do anything for you.
It was me. We get him home and it's like 1:30 in the morning. And by that time, he's a little incensed about the silliness of the thing too. There's no street light. My porch light's out. But he manages, with my leaning on me, we get him out of the van. Thank goodness it's a van because the legs just go swirl straight out and stand up. across the big gravel roadway to up 2 stairs, lift his legs 18 inches up 2 stairs, keeping his balance, and we got him into the house by ourselves. That
Wow.
was what anger did. I'm thinking on this. Anger turns on our adrenaline. Adrenaline pumps oxygen. It's a survival mechanism left over for when, saber-tooths could have us for breakfast or mid-afternoon snack. We have to be able to run like heck and save ourselves. In order to do the extraordinary and outrun a Tyrannosaurus Rex, we can't be thinking about it. You just can't stop and think about it. You just got to run and don't look back. So the body takes this oxygen and this adrenaline, and the adrenaline shoves oxygen everywhere into us. Well, that works well with the muscles because that makes them work. They can work fast and hard and strong. But that extra oxygen to the brain, that kind of shorts it out. And we kind of lose, all we know is one thing. It's the fight or flight thing, and we're running for it. We're going to survive it. We don't think about what it is.
Mm-hmm.
When we stop, though, and we finally slow down, we realize what it was the shadow of an ant, that was just nothing. We get mad about it. We didn't have that information. We wouldn't have had to run so hard. Could just, taking out the ant. This is why boxers actually get into a fight and in the ring and hit each other with big, heavy fists. This is why there's somebody in the news today, Hugh Glass. He was a pioneer that survived death. He was mad. Hugh Glass was a pioneer out in the West, back when the West was West. I guess it's 100 years or so. The three of them were out hunting and trapping, and they had separated a little ways when the other two heard Hugh scream. Big old bear was chewing him up alive. When they finally got the bear pushed off and found what was left of Hugh Glass, they were pretty sure he was goners. But their code, if you could call it that, was you don't just leave somebody laying there that needs help. So they doctored him for 2 or 3 days, and it was clear all he was doing is waiting on his last breath. Hugh Glass was not going to make it. So they took everything he owned that had value. They took his boots. They took his coats. This was wintertime. Did I mention that? They took his rifle and his ammunition and his powder and whatever else was there. They took his hat. They took anything of value he owned on his body. And they loaded it up with them because they could use that stuff and it would go to waste on a dead body out, in the mountains. And they buried Hugh up to, they settled him into a little hole they had dug. And they left him there at any moment. I mean, it's been 2 or 3 days now, and Hugh hadn't died, but he keeps rasping. So they go and leave him, convinced that he's not going to make it through the night anyway. As they head back towards civilization, Hugh takes a second breath. Along the way towards the trading post, they start talking the story because people say, "Where's Hugh?" And Hugh died. And they just told the story that the bear had ate Hugh, and that was all, that we had no more Hugh. They were in the middle of telling that story around a campfire when something awful drug itself into the campfire light one night. And Hugh said, "I'm not dead. You guys left me for it." Craziness broke out. Hugh had managed to realize and understand what was happening when they took all of his stuff. And he was mad. He decided not to die. All that adrenaline rush that he got, he was not quite dead. And he got well enough without weapons through the territory full of bears, that same bear, big cats, all kind of sticky, no trail places to go. He dragged, and pulled himself over 200 miles.
Wow.
Through wilderness, through rocks and valleys to get to the closest town. I thought I lived away. Took him a long time. So when he gets out there, the reason he is there is because he was so mad at those two guys that he didn't think about how hard it would be to make that journey. He didn't think about not having a weapon. He kind of double dogged there, a bear to hit him because he'd bite that bear to death. He was mad, and he used that anger to survive. It's great. Apparently, the Glass family has regained permission from the state that the monument is in, that they're going to go dig up. Hugh was really proud of himself for having survived, and he wrote about it. He was writing about his survival at the same time, I cannot say his name, Milt, wrote Black Elk Speaks. Those two original documents, the handwritten documents, Hugh Glass, with a lot of pomp and circumstance, put in a time capsule and buried underneath this little monument over 100 years ago. They're going to dig it up. That was what that's what made me think of Hugh Glass today while I'm sitting here in anger. And I realized that his anger helped him survive. Sometimes our anger gets us hurt, causes us problems. For me, I had to go through years of developing my personal mantra. It's like, shut up, Janis. Shut up, Janis. Don't say it. Don't say it. Shut it. Don't say it.
Yeah.
That's my mantra. Everybody has to have one, so that's mine. When we say it, all that energy that we've got inside of us spews out and it gets wasted. But if we can sit on that energy, that power, and wait long enough for the chemicals in our brains to balance back out from that rush of adrenaline, we can think about these things. We can develop a plan, and we can use that power to successfully, say, steal a slave ship when we're a slave ourselves, or walk through 200 and some odd miles of wilderness with nothing on our bare naked feet, or survive my husband while he goes through the processes of the ends of his worlds, where that you can survive customer service.
My situation is not even close to your situation, but
it's the same. It's different degrees.
It's a frustration, and it takes a lot again to get me to a certain point. But I think I got there today. It's just like, really, like, come on. But then I have this right over here. This is stress relief aromatherapy spray.
Oh, let me smell. Yeah. Not bad. Oh, kind of minty, little calm, lavendery.
Yes,
and
this comes from a Native American who makes it with true organic oils.
Oh, send me
I just fire that stuff up, and
I'll take a quart.
But to your point, I'll take a 55-gallon drum over here. To your point, Janis, sometimes that the byproduct of the anger or the stress or the anxiety can be good, because that motivates you and fires your butt up and moves you forward. Because let's say you're going to speak in front of an audience. Most people don't like doing that. It's very uncomfortable. It's one of the top 3 things that causes anxiety. What about if that situation, or going into your boss asking for a raise, or whatever it might be, we never felt anything? It was just like, it was
I'd be bored. I'd be bored.
It'd be just all the same. There would be no emotion, so it's like, all right, well, think of a professional football player. Every game's a big game, a lot of money on the line, got to win another one, can't lose another one. You get on the field, like, I got to crank this one out here today. Your stress and anxiety level goes up. Maybe there's some anger, or something might have happened, and that juices you up. If not, nothing's going on. So maybe in your situation, that fired you up to look for a solution to. I always imagine there's a lesson there somewhere. Sometimes we don't know right away.
There's a pony in here somewhere.
Is the pony the prize? Is that what it is?
Yeah, well, you know about the two little boys. They were taken in an experiment. Their parents agreed to let them participate in an experiment. The two little boys had grown up in different sides of town, and the scientists brought them into their little science lab, and they put one in one room and one in the other room. And they couldn't see each other. And in each room, the whole corner of one side of the room was full of horse manure and a shovel. They shut the doors and they told the little boys they'd be back in a few minutes and see what was going on. Okay. So they're gone and they watch. And one little boy, he picks up the shovel. I mean, they're peeking because they're scientists. Picks up his shovel and starts shoveling crap like crazy from one side of the room to the other. And the other little boy, he just sits there and cries. Well, when the scientists come back, they go to the little boy who's crying first because he's upset. And they say, honey, what's wrong? It's just terrible in here. It smells and there's poop and it's awful. And, so they brought him out and he washed him up and let him have his mama and a cookie. And they went to the other side where the other little boy, he's still shoveling, man. He's worked up a sweat. He has moved that pile from one side to the other more than once. And he said, little boy, put the shovel down, man. What are you doing in here? And the little boy just looked at him straight as a judge. He says, y'all don't know? Is there as much horse shit in here? There's got to be a pony somewhere.
That's fantastic.
We got to look for the pony. Yeah, there's the pony somewhere, but sometimes it's covered up in yuck. We got to remember these things when the anger really gets us.
Well, there are some that go, and I'm not suggesting this, but it just popped in my head. Some that say, don't get angry, get even. I don't know if I agree with that. In my situation, well, I shouldn't get angry. Blank that company. I'll go pick another one. It's my reputation integrity online because it was for a client. But that's how you do business. I don't want go away. You don't deserve it.
Yeah, let's talk karma for just a moment.
Wow.
Talk karma.
I believe that's always around.
Because when we help someone else, we take on a portion of their karma and them us. We kind of join up for a little bit to get the job done. When we do that, you're taking on theirs, they're taking on yours. Now you're helping them. You've taken on their karma because you're the one calling the company instead of them.
Now, I have to ask this question, though. I believe in my situation, and again, it's minimal compared to yours, which is using it as an example. But I believe they were wrong. How do you send something without you have the address, you have the name, you don't know what you sent as a sample? You're trying to get a sale. All right. That being said, that's bad karma in some regards because it's just we make mistakes. All right, everybody makes no problem, but
addressing it. You got to address it though. You can't just blow it off.
I'm already on my third phone call now. Why? So I can spend money with your company. But when you say that we take the karma on, are we taking on the bad karma by trying to make it right though?
Well, we're taking on the karma to arrange for them to get the thing. You're doing the arrangement work. This is because you've got some karma to work out too. Nothing's ever wasted. We all got karma. And the great lords that be and decide these wonderful things, shooting crap behind the laundromat at night, we do what we do. So you're learning how to work with your anger and their lack of say personal information
and attention
themselves.
Yeah.
So the anger, you got to keep backing it up and go, okay, anger is confusion. Why am I confused? Because they are confusing me. I don't understand why they don't have any more brilliance than this. And to address that, then that's on you. You call that company up and say, I'd like to speak with someone who talks with Better Business Bureaus. And you mentioned the Better Business Bureau name. I actually went to business school. Those are a great couple of words because, they mean something. Or consumer reports. Maybe I'd like to call consumer reports. Who would I ask them to talk to when they contacted the company?
And you're right, because this is a big company, by the way. I figured you can't lose. Can't lose with them. But you can't really leave a review for them because they're such a big company that it's not. Yeah, I guess they have a headquarters and that'll be connected to a Google review. However, Better Business Bureau. Now, even though we didn't transact business, I wonder if you can leave a review, but that carries a lot of weight. You're correct about that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
This way, you're working out your karma to the correct end, which is to say you're passing the buck. You're putting the problem with who it belongs to instead of trying to work it out yourself. Not your problem. The pen company can't write a note. That's their problem. So
it is kind of ironic, isn't it? They can't write a note.
We're really upset about this. I mean, where the lights are shifting and everything's crazy.
But I will tell you this: you've made me feel better about it and actually laugh about the whole situation. And I hope yours got resolved without too much frustration and anger, because it's just, I'm a believer.
Once upon a time, a long time ago, I got a refrigerator deal straightened out. So I still think of that, and I'll just breathe. I'll wait.
I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
I remember you getting that done.
Yeah. When you let karma do what needs to be done, how does it go? Somebody explained it to me the other day. Let karma do the job, because that's what karma's for. And because if you do the job, the police might get involved.
Is it bad? We're just about out of time. We are out of time. I can't lie. When I have to write a check that I don't believe I should be writing, but I have to, in the memo I write KIR. You know what that stands for?
Can you describe it on air? What does it stand for?
Karma is real. It's my little way of just saying,
KIB. Thanks for letting me talk with you about anger today.
Yeah, I feel better.
Like me, I'm on Southwest Virginia Psychic on a web page that doesn't seem to connect to much. Email me, goddessjanis2@outlook.com. Send me a Facebook note, Janis Reed. I'm creator at large, learning to be, what do you call it? Anyway, I'm an apprentice creator.
I think you create solutions and you have a rational way of looking at things, which others don't. And I appreciate that. It's a fresh view. And even today, I feel better. I'm not even kidding.
I'm glad. That's how I like to leave folks.
Yeah. And karma does prevail. I believe that. And we all have it. And there's good karma. There's bad karma. But you can direct somebody. And we didn't even get to the cards. We should have done that. We should have pulled out cards for these situations, shouldn't we?
Well, cards and crystal balls and oil and water on black ponds. For me, these are distractions and toys for you to look at while I'm coming up with the answers.
Well, we're out of time.
But whatever works.
I don't want them to cut us off. Love talking with you, and I'll look forward when we get together that other time, and we won't be angry.
Okay, just breathe through it.
Deep breath.
And then eat a cookie. Have a great afternoon.
And look for the horse.
Mm-hmm. Bye.
Bye.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.